Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Norlin Ebel Ame with the news. 9 new permanent secretaries have been sworn in to fill the existing vacancies in the federal civil service. The swearing-in ceremony, President Muhammadu Buhari preceded the weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
Products of a rigorous selection process, the new appointees are coming on board following a presidential approval for the appointment of 1 permanent secretary from each of the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. The same approval also saw the retirement of the permanent secretaries representing Borno, Kebbi, Kwara, Niger and Ogun states. Those appointed therefore includes Hassan Musa from Borno State, Aliyu Ahmad from Niger State, Olushola Olayinka Idowu, Ogun State, David Adejo Andrew representing North Central Zone, and Tijani Umar, North East Zone. The Northwest Zone has Dr. Nasir Sani Gwarzo as representative, Nebo Lisa Anako, Southeast, Temitope Peter Fashedemi, Southwest, and Dr. Evelyn Ngige for the South-South Zone. President Muhammadu Buhari did not speak at the event, but the acting head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemi Ashong, in an interview, tasked the appointees to live above board in the discharge of their responsibilities.
The government expects that they will put everything into their job and that they will work with integrity and that hard work will be their hallmark. It's important to drive Nigeria to the next level.
Some of the new permanent secretaries spoken to were full of appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for the confidence reposed in them, which they promised not to betray.
Each one of us is fully aware that nothing but the best is expected of us in the discharge of our responsibility. And I make this solemn declaration that I would do my very best, and I believe that it will be in the pursuit, of the aspirations of this government.
It's a position of trust, and we are grateful for the opportunity. We do know that Mr. President has very high standard in terms of accountability, transparency, and good governance. So we would try as much as possible to live up to that standard.
One will have to bring in all the past experience, the exposure, the contacts, every opportunity to bear in the work. New hands into the role of permanent secretaries bring in innovative ideas, and we will surely bring into bear in our responsibilities.
Apart from being chief accounting officers, permanent secretaries also have the responsibility of, among others, supporting and advising ministers, as well as ensuring effective management of human resources and implementation of policies, projects, and priorities of government. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The federal government says it remains committed and focused on finding sustainable ways of financing Nigeria's immunization and vaccination obligations. President Muhammadu Buhari gave the assurance while receiving in audience members of the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization, Gavi. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that President also welcomed Hyundai Company's proposal to set up assembly plant in Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari said the various physical and security challenges experienced by Nigeria have hindered the country's ability to fully meet its financial obligations on vaccines by the year 2021 as planned. He thanked Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization for its over $1 billion support to Nigeria since 2001, especially through the provision of vaccines to millions of people across the country. The president described as pleasing that Gavi has not only extended its co-financing support period from 2021 to 2028, but also committed over $3 billion in new funding for vaccines, cold chain infrastructure, and strengthening of health system across the country. President Buhari pledged that the federal government would continue to provide counterpart funds as well as strategies to gradually improve fiscal sustainability by the year 2028. Dr. Seth Beckley commended Nigeria for the significant increase in national immunization coverage between 2016 and now through excellent interministerial collaboration. He urged state governments to invest in vaccination and immunization, adding that poverty reduction must equally be a goal in the country. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has restated Nigeria's resolve to collaborate with and support Hyundai Engineering Company to set up a car plant and also rehabilitate the nation's petroleum refineries. The president made this known while receiving the president and chief executive officer of the company, Mr. Chang Hakim. He said Nigeria is also committed to ensuring energy security in the country with a goal of achieving self-sufficiency in the supply of petroleum products within the next 3 years. President Buhari, who welcomed the proposal to set up Hyundai car plant in the country, pledged to make the investment a reality. Mr. Hakim said Hyundai Engineering Company, which hires about 15,000 engineers and technical staff globally, is willing to contribute to the development of the Nigerian economy. The company, with a record of building refineries worldwide, has its biggest plant in South Korea with a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day. Hyundai says it will be glad to contribute its quota to the growth of Nigeria's economy. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The Senate has called on the Nigerian police force to carry out a comprehensive investigation on the murder of Professor Jerome Elusian. This followed a motion by Senator Francis Fadahunsi, which described the death of the professor of medicine of the Obafemi Awolowo University as a huge blow to academic activities in the institution. It also called on security agencies to fortify security across the country, especially as the Christmas and the New Year celebrations draw nearer. Senate has approved the 2020 budget of 11.5 billion naira for the Universal Service Provision Fund and 140.3 billion naira for the Nigerian Communications Commission. Meanwhile, the Senate has approved the report of its Committee on Navy, Marine Transport and Finance on the alleged illegal operations of a private company in security operatives at the secured Anchorage area of Lagos State, describing the allegation as false. Similarly, the House of Representatives is pushing for the inclusion of presiding officers of the National Assembly as members of the National Security Council. A bill to that effect passed through second reading during Wednesday's plenary. Sponsored by Odebunmi Olusegun, the bill seeks the amendment of the third schedule of the Constitution to enable the inclusion. The lawmakers also passed a resolution to investigate alleged non-remittance of revenue put at more than R1 billion by the PPPRA, which contravenes provisions of Fiscal Responsibility Act. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, in the course of plenary, communicated to House members the appreciation of President Muhammadu Buhari during Tuesday's signing of the 2020 appropriation bill on the commitment of the National Assembly of returning Nigeria's budget cycle to January to December. Now time to join Ruth in Lagos for more reports on Nationwide. Over to you, Ruth.
Hello, Nolin. Thank you, and welcome to Lagos. The federal government is rigorously pursuing the regional rail line connectivity for trade facilitation to establish a ready-made market for cargo evacuation for countries within the West Africa sub-region. Michael Olaleye reports.
The chartering of the rail track reignites fond memories of easy and comfortable mobility, which did not only fast-track economic prosperity in Nigeria, but unite people of diverse cultural values. It was an experience Victor Murako will not hurriedly forget 35 years down the lane, as recounted growing up within the premises of the Nigerian Railway Corporation.
Even when I was in primary school, sometimes we used to jump on the train to go to school at Golf Course Primary School, Aba.
As we chatted further, he lauded the efforts of the present administration at restoring the Nigerian values using rail transportation.
I think railway is one of the infrastructure that should be properly be planned so that with time, the country, there will be a ring around the country.
The federal government is already projecting beyond Victor's expectation as efforts to connect Nigeria with other African countries through rail still tops developmental agenda.
There is a plan to go from Kano to Marabi in Niger. We want to catch on the so that our port volume will go up, because they will now be importing through Nigeria's port because they have easy access.
The Eastern Rail Line is strategic in achieving this mandate, as government is perfecting arrangements at ensuring that the Warri-Agbo corridor of the Itakpe-Warri Rail Line is completed on time.
Now we are buying about 32 locomotives with 10 coming in right now, and the one for freight, we're expecting them.
With the giant stride of this present administration at revolutionizing rail transportation, it is certain that the tales of the coming generation about mobility in Nigeria will be more glorious than that of Victor. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NT News.
Media practitioners have been urged to keep issues of national interest in the front burner for the benefit of Nigerians. Chief Executive Officer, Federal Competition and Consumer Protection, made this known when he engaged the media in Lagos. Awal Yusuf Jibo tells us more.
Consumer protection can be viewed as the totality of efforts geared at preventing consumer exploitation through effective government policies aimed at ensuring maximum consumer satisfaction from services and products. Although Nigerians have fallen victim of such exploitations in the past, the present administration led by President Muhammadu Buhari is leaving no stone unturned towards ensuring consumer satisfaction and safety, which is why the Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Babatunde Irukera, is urging the media to play their part in informing and enlightening the public correctly.
You could create expectations that are inconsistent with the responsibilities of the provider or producer. That's a totally different thing. But there are certain baseline expectations that products or services must meet. And when they don't meet that, someone owes you an obligation.
Mr. Irukera underscored the need for sustained media input in the campaign for the protection of the rights of Nigerians, stressing that the media should be used as a tool to modify business behaviors in favor of the public. In Lagos, Awal Yusuf Jibo, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide continues in Abuja with Nolin after this break.
Thank you for rejoining us in Abuja. Now to security. The Air Task Force ATF of Operation Lafia Dole under the auspices of Operation Rattlesnake have yielded further results with the destruction of another Boko Haram terrorist camp at Ngoshe in the Sambisa Forest area of Borno State. In a statement signed by Director Public Relations Information, Air Commodore Ibikunle Daramola, the operation was executed on 16th December 2019 after an intelligence surveillance and reconnaissance aircraft had, over a series of missions, observed a scaling up of terrorist activities in some compounds within the settlement. Overhead the target area, a significant number of terrorists were observed. The ammunition from the attack aircraft hit the designated location, wiping out a part of the cluster of buildings in the area and neutralizing several of the BHT fighters. NAF, operating in concert with surface forces, says it will sustain its efforts to completely destroy all remnants of the terrorists in the northeast. Still talking security, the Department of State Services has been in the news in the last couple of weeks for many reasons while in the line of duty. This, however, did not go unnoticed as the Committee on Peace, National Unity and Cohesion honors the helmsman with an award of excellence in Abuja. Francis Form has the report.
The Department of State Services is responsible for intelligence gathering within the country. The department has constantly adapted to increased roles necessitated by evolving security threats in Nigeria, including counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency. This determination, commitment and dedication of the security organization to enhance national peace and unity earns the Director General this Award of Excellence from the Committee on Peace, National Unity and Cohesion.
To encourage you to continue to be firm, resolute, and unshaken in the performance of your constitutional rules of dictation and provision of internal security.
By coming here maybe to recognize us, I'm sure you must identify with the truth. I thank you for recognizing us, not me alone, but the service, because the service will outlive each and every one of us.
The committee hopes the award will thrust upon the Department of State Services a greater responsibility and challenge to further consolidate on the existing giants' strides. In Abuja, Francis Form, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari, along with members of the National Assembly, have been receiving nationwide commendations for the swift passing and signing of the 2020 budget, returning the country to the January-December budget cycle. Guest on NTA's Current Affairs program, Good Morning Nigeria, noted this while analyzing the 2020 Appropriation Act. Alika Okpana-Chiarua reports.
Commending President Muhammadu Buhari for the quick passage of the budget. The guests called for the quick judicious implementation of the budget to fast-track national development in the year 2020.
It means a lot to the Federal Republic of Nigeria because in the past 20 years, we've only been able to achieve this twice. That was in 2001 and then 2007.
It will help the entire nation, the government, agencies, and the private enterprises, because it will allow for government to be able to plan its activities, taking into consideration natural factors like the weather, rainy season, dry season, and so on and so forth. And it will give the room needed for proper implementation.
They further stressed that the increment in the 2020 budget will not only help in the effective execution of projects, but will also create job opportunities for the youths.
I will just reference the transparency treasury policy. Is a major platform for good governance and, of course, participatory evaluation, of course, mentoring of the implementation of the budget implementation.
They appeal to the three arms of government to continue to maintain the cordial relationship between them and work in synergy for the betterment of all Nigerians and the nation at large. In Abuja, Alika Okpana-Chiarua, NTA News.
The economy of the ECOWAS sub-region has improved from 2.9% in 2018 to 3.3% this year. These ECOWAS leaders attribute to high investment with low interest rates in some member nations, and they say they are considering other elements that could drive economic growth in the region in 2020. Usman Aliu has details.
2019 is ending, and the ECOWAS prepares for the next year's spendings. Ministers of Foreign Affairs and Finance in the African sub-region provide necessary input for consideration in the regional body's budget. The economic growth, which is higher than the previous year, they say, is as a result of some deliberate economic policies. Nigeria has 67% economic size of the ECOWAS, and leaders of member nations here say all elements to support Nigeria's economic development must be done for the good of the sub-region.
Our experts have met and deliberated on most of the items in the agenda before us, especially the 2020 budget of the community.
So what we try to do now this year is to consolidate what we did last year so that we focus the budget to be on more programs that will have positive impact on the citizens of the community.
An old dream to have single currency, the ECO, which has been a lingering issue since the beginning of the millennium, is expected for deliberation. In the budget, the Security Action Plan proposing $1 billion funding in the fight against terrorism is another major issue of concern. In Abuja, Usman Aliu, NTA News.
Now, wife of Sokoto State Governor flags off medical outreach in Saniya. Sadia is standing by in Sokoto for details of this and other stories. Hello, Sadia.
Hello, Nolin. Thank you and welcome to Sokoto. Energy experts have advocated for constitutional amendment to remove energy governance from the exclusion of concurrent list to the regional governments for regional governments that can develop energy policies that best suits their peculiar local energy needs. This is one of the recommendations at the second national colloquium towards deepening Nigeria's development with the theme, The Role of Energy in National Development, held in Sokoto. Muhammad Nasir reports.
Energy remains an indispensable component for the overall development of all sectors of human life. However, the actual role it played in the development process is still subject of debate and controversies, with researchers, analysts, and experts pitched against one another. It is in realization of the indispensability of energy in driving development of any society that this second national colloquium, convened by engineer Zayano Tambariabo, focus on the role of energy in development with a view to dissecting its choices now and proper optimum options for the future. Experts of national and international repute deliberated extensively on the role of energy towards nations' development.
If we want to sustain our development, then we must be able to pay attention to global climate change. And the way to do it is to think in terms of decentralization of the governance of the energy sector in Nigeria.
We surely can have energy security. Presently, that's even when you look at what the government is trying to do, is basically to do that. And the only way you can have energy security, you must ensure that you have in-country refining capacity.
The participants observed that there is correlation between the country's GDP per capita and energy consumption per capita, as well as the intertwine between poverty and energy policy. They also observed distortion in Nigeria's energy structure due to over-centralization of its generation, transmission, and distribution, unlike what obtains in developed countries. They recommended that energy policy shall emphasize diverse energy mix to reduce risk exposure and enhance energy security. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
More than 4,000 people are to enjoy free medical services provided by Maria Aminu Tambuwal Development Initiative in collaboration with Association of Resident Doctors, Osman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital, Sokoto. The latter Abdullahi reports.
This is Sanyina town, where more than 4,000 people have converged for the two-day free medical outreach. enough drugs have been provided, while members of Association of Resident Doctors, Osman Danford University Teaching Hospital branch, were available to make the exercise a success.
We hope to cover areas that includes medical, which means that diseases that will not require surgical intervention, then oral and dental health. Then we'll also look at patients with eye and ear, nose problem. Then we'll also look at women and children who form a major bulk of the society. Then we're also going to conduct minor surgeries.
Wife of Sokoto State Governor Maria Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, represented by Hajia Zainab Nasir, said the medical outreach is aimed at assisting people, especially the vulnerable who cannot afford medical bills.
Maria Tambuwal Development Initiative, that is the pet project of Her Excellency. It has been doing well in improving the lives of people, most especially the women and the children.
It's a good gesture. And this kind of gesture should continue almost everywhere, because this helps the common man and his family.
This free medical outreach is one of the humanitarian gestures being carried out by Maria Tambuwal Development Initiative across Sokoto State. In Sokoto, Dalato Abdullahi, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Sokoto. It's back to Nolen in Abuja.
Thank you so much, Sadia. The national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has joined the rest of the country to extend his best wishes to President Muhammadu Buhari on his birthday. In a message, Asiwaju Tinubu thanked President Buhari for his contributions to the development of the nation, as well as the fight against corruption, which has placed Nigeria on the pathway to a better future. The statement adds that as the leader of the All Progressives Congress, President Buhari is a man of political courage, rare bravery, exemplary resilience, and truly the president for this moment in our national journey. Bola Tinubu also commended the administration as being one of momentous achievement and the realization of hope and progress for our country, as well as the All Progressives Congress, and wishes President Muhammadu Buhari so many more years of good health and fine achievement. Women have been enjoined to see any position they occupy as an opportunity to serve humanity. In memorial of the 1929 victims of Aba Women's Riot held in Akwa Ibom State, emphasis is laid on the need for women to remain united and support programs that are beneficial to women in the society.
1929, popularly known as Aba Women's Riot, was organized by women who massively revolted against the policies imposed by the British colonial administrators in southern Nigeria. Every year in Akwa Ibom State, the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Welfare gather at specific locations to acknowledge the sacrifice and contribution of women. Speaking at the 2019 event organized by the Ministry of Agriculture and Women Affairs, the Commissioner, Dr. Glory Edith, urged women in the state to be God-fearing, bring their children up in the way of the Lord in order to make the society a better and safe place for all.
We stand once again on this 16th day of December at the threshold of history as we remember our women who seized the opportunity to change the course of history during the British colonial rule.
Wife of the Speaker, Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, Mrs. Itoro Wobasi, charged women to be united, noting that the sacrifices of women during the 1929 Women's War will amount to effort in futility if women do not cooperate or unite. Keynote presenter Professor Quindolin Obinachi also stressed the need for healthy interpersonal relationship among women. The event also featured laying of wreaths in honor of the 1929 Women's Riot victims. From Ikorobasi local government area, Susan Asukwo, NTA News.
Our next stop on Nationwide is Port Harcourt, and Jenny is standing by. Jenny, how are you doing?
Good evening, Nolene, and welcome to Port Harcourt.
Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has tasked the Ogoni traditional rulers and leaders to work for the sustenance of peace that has returned to the area. The governor gave a charge during a solidarity visit on him by the Ogonis at Government House, Port Harcourt. Ogedi Nyekwere reports.
The Ogoni ethnic nationality are in Government House to appreciate the governor for his infrastructural development strides and, most importantly, thank him for his advice to the group to put their house in order to attract development to their area.
Since the inception of this Fourth Republic, he is the first governor of Rivers State that has come out to show concern for the emotions, the life, and the people of Ogoni.
Governor Wike charged the Ogonis to unite and ensure that the peace that has returned to their area is sustained.
What I talk about, what I'm telling you, so nobody will say, I don't have agreement with anybody. So don't ever you rely on any man to say he will make you governor. Nobody. It's only God that makes a governor. But man can support.
The governor also spoke on the victory of Rivers State government at the Federal High Court over the Suku oil well. The group comprised of the 4 local government areas of Kana, Gokana, Tai, and Eleme that make up the Ogoni ethnic nationality. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Nyekwere, NTA News.
Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Ibrahim Pantami, says the federal government is establishing information and communication technology development centers across the geopolitical zones as a strategy to develop a digital society where young Nigerians will become job creators. Dr. Pantami said these at the inauguration of the National Information Technology Development Agency Innovation and Incubation Park Complex in Port Harcourt. Again, Kinsley Amajiri reports.
The Innovation and Incubation Park, donated by NIDA, is intended to help grow human resources and capacity in telecommunication engineering. This is in response to the emerging technology at a time information and communication technology is sweeping across various industries and professions. The minister said the ICT Engineering Skills Center at the University of Port Harcourt is in response to the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy launched by President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, intended to bridge the knowledge gap between the academia and the industry.
If you go through the world today, you will discover that smart cities, smart mall centers, smart shopping malls, smart houses are making people jobless. If you want to establish a digital society, there is need for you to have centers where indigenes and citizens are going to be trained.
The center is expected to provide training platform for digital literacy and reposition Nigerians to be globally competitive. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
And that's it from Port Harcourt. It's back to you, Nolene, in Abuja.
Thank you so much, Jenny. The Board of Federal Road Safety Commission has approved the promotion of 2,341 personnel to various ranks as follows. 108 Chief Route Commander promoted to Assistant Corps Commanders, 54 Superintendent Route Commanders to Chief Route Commander, while 741 Route Commanders were elevated to the rank of Superintendent Route Commander. According to a statement by the Corps Public Education Officer Bisi Kazim, the promoted officers have displayed a great deal of excellence, hard work and diligence over time. As such, got rewarded for their sacrifices. Speaking on the promotion exercise, Board Chairman FRSA Barrister Buhari Bello expressed a great deal of satisfaction with the level of transparency and objectivity that surrounded the entire processes and charged the newly promoted staff to be more committed to the realization of the corporate mandate of the Corps, while calling on them to intensify efforts to ensure that safety of all road users at all times. In the same vein, the Corps Marshal Dr. Boboye Oyemi commended the performance of the newly promoted officers and charged them to put in their best in the course of their duties as the new rank comes with great responsibility. In line with the federal government's efforts to boost food production across the country and enhance food security, the Cross River State government is not only embarking on an agricultural revolution, but it is consciously providing incentives that will promote farming at the grassroots. These efforts are currently being replicated across the different senatorial districts of the state. Paul Abel has the report.
With rich arable land for the commercial cultivation of the several high-yielding agricultural crops like yams, cassava, cocoa and rice, the huge economic potentials of Northern Cross River has remained untapped. Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade says plans are underway by his administration to transform the area into a thriving export hub through government's agricultural revolution.
And I have seen how many people have decided to take farming seriously. With the yam flour factory that we are setting up here in Yala, more farmers, more people will go into farming.
The state government Northfest therefore provides an opportunity to showcase the rich cultural heritage and harvest of farmers from the 5 local government areas of Bikwara, Ugoja, Obudu, Obanliku and Yala. These stakeholders say is in line with President Muhammadu Buhari's policy on food security. To encourage the farmers and enable them plow back, the state government bought over the produce with the best farmer going home with a prize. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
And still on food production, a federal government's zero tolerance on rice importation receives a boost in Nasarawa State as stakeholders sensitize farmers on improved irrigation water management to grow more rice. From Lafia, Abari Solomon reports.
Plans with the federal government initiative to harness maximum benefit in the agricultural sector, development partners under the African Development Bank and other research institutes are equipping farmers in Nasarawa State on rice value chain to improve yield.
The mode we are using is that we have this set of people that are here now. We all together about 120 people here. They will also take this message and cascade it down.
This work today in Nasarawa State is to enable rice farmers to have access to the various sources of water.
The initiative is knowledge-based on proper use of irrigation and water management technologies and implementation of good irrigation management practices for food sufficiency and security.
Good irrigation, we can expand the irrigated area in Nasarawa for rice production. We can significantly increase the quality and the quantity of the rice production, and we can really help to improve the income of the farmers in Nasarawa.
Our take is to encourage the participants to take every bit of the information they are giving them here very seriously.
For the participants like Cletus Yakubu and Janet Alanji, the program is rewarding as it is going to enhance their skills, which will in turn reflect on their output. In Lafia, Abari Solomon, NTA News.
Governor Sheyi Makinde presents educational materials to schools. Lanre in our Ibadan network studio has details. Over to you, Lanre.
Come to Ibadan. Kwara State government has set up an e-governance delivery team to upscale the use of digital technology to achieve better service delivery in all facets of governance in the state. Raliat Ibrahim has the report.
The kick-off meeting by the e-government delivery team is to intimate all stakeholders on the target of the team, especially in fast-tracking Kwara State government transactions, achieving a seamless interagency relationship, improving on the ease of doing business in the state, and investment promotion to attract investors are top on the goals of the team.
When investments come into the state, be it agriculture, be it manufacturing, and be it tourism, it would be able to create job, it would have a job creation effect.
It is the professionals from these agencies that must be in the team that work with you.
State Deputy Governor Kayode Alabi says the focus of the government is to meet the demands of the 21st century, hence the constitution of the team.
Set up the e-government delivery units, which must be anew by serving some for our current process and procedures.
and devise ways to build a smarter government that works to meet the expectations of our people and the demands of the 21st century.
Kwara State currently ranks 30th out of 37 in the ease of doing business rating in Nigeria. It is expected the e-government team will push the state to a comfortable ranking, which will make its citizens prosperous through the opportunities that will surface. Raliat Ibrahim, NTA News.
As the government and people of Ogun State roll out drums to celebrate this year's carols of 9 lessons, clerics again emphasize the need for peaceful coexistence for an indivisible Nigeria. Lukman Adefeso's report is here presented.
It was an array of dignitaries, including former President Olusegun Obasanjo, his wife, and traditional rulers. Being the first to be celebrated by Governor Dapo Abiodun, it was an exciting moment for the people as choirs from different denominations took turn to render special number. Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun read the 9th lesson from St. John chapter 1 verses 1 to 14. Governor called on people to exhibit Christ-like attitude during and after Christmas.
Christ said we should love our neighbors like we love ourselves. Let us attempt to do that this Christmas season.
In his sermon, President Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) Samson Ayokunle admonished people not to relent in serving God.
Remember your humble beginning and those who struggle with you. All of you politicians, but those of you God has put in different positions, it's not because you walk alone. You walk with some people.
The renowned Juju maestro and gospel singer Ebenezer Obifabiyi had thrilled guests with a special performance.
And that's all from Ibadan. Rest of Nationwide continues with Nolin in Abuja.
Thank you, Larry. Time to take another break. Nationwide continues. Thank you for staying with us on Nationwide. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is taking proactive steps to consolidate its partnership with media organizations in a bid to actualize its new focus on disaster management from reactive to productive. Director General of the agency, Mustafa Maihaja, stated this when he received management of ASO Radio in his office, led by its General Manager, Ibrahim Damisa. Ilyasu Aliakubu reports.
Focus on disaster management in Nigeria has been strictly on the reactive, where all stakeholders in the business of disaster management only think of providing relief materials in the event of outbreak of disaster rather than being proactive to prevent its occurrence. This scenario has continued to empty government treasuries at all levels due to high demands from victims of disaster. The Director General of NEMA is now focusing more on disaster risk reduction to reduce the huge amount being expended every year, as well as minimize the level of casualties. The meeting agreed to further sensitize the general public on the need to embrace the new approach.
One of the key factors in disaster management is communication. People need to be informed through media communication. So when you have an incident management system, you must have information manager who manages the information.
Managing Director of ASO Radio, Ibrahim Damisa, solicited patronage of the agency to be able to carry its social responsibility to the public.
We are also co-hosting NEMA's facilities on Katampe Hill. We therefore came to solicit for greater professional relationship, and we're happy that we came.
The meeting resolved to intensify campaigns on the new approach to save the country of incessant trauma. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliakubu, NTA News.
The passion of every employee is derived from the sustainable impacts its organization is making to advance the cause of services delivery to the people. This summed up the perception of Florence Orji at the NTA annual news conference aimed at taking stock of the organization's performance in 2019. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports.
Florence Orji has a practical experience of television industry that traversed the three arms of reportorial, editorial and current affairs for more than 3 decades and still seeking for improved performance. This explains why she joins other colleagues across the country at the NTA Annual News Conference to review progress achieved in 2019 and identify setbacks with firm commitment to surmounting them.
We are all expected to take NTA to the level or to that level that it is aspiring to be.
If we're saying we're 42 years in broadcasting, then we should stay on the path and be the leader, let others follow.
It will enhance our performance, particularly in the area of reportage.
2019 elections coverage and other equivalent tasks the organization carried out during the period underscored the importance attached to the conference.
We are trying to align to the digitization process. So we expect to see NTA expanding its horizon. Of course, we still have the reach. So we're trying to widen the scope in terms of digital space.
Satisfied with the height attained, NTA management resonated paradigm shift as the theme of the annual conference with concerns in expanding the ICT space in line with global trend of creativity and excellence in broadcasting.
This achievement that we have been able to make so far and also build upon it, build the confidence and also make sure that we move this authority to the next level.
The resolution of Florence Orji and others here is to build and elaborate platforms through ICT-driven systems to improve capacity and add value to governance in Nigeria and beyond.
The review conference is an annual practice by NTA management to improve on critical areas of its mandate and to continually develop a quality template for surpassing previous performance, as well as driving in its vision as the largest TV network in Africa. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Thank you, Abubakar. After 20 years of suspension, the federal and Kebbi state government are partnering to mark the International Argungu Fishing Festival in 2020. At a meeting with the Director General, National Council for Arts and Council, Olusegun Ironshewe in Abuja, the Emir of Argungu, Samaila Mohammed Mira, said the festival would feature 34 competitions. Oinaya Kaloka reports.
Created in 1934 in Arugungu, Kebbi State, the spectacular fishing festival, held annually to mark the end of the growing season and the harvest, was last celebrated in 2009 due to insecurity problem. Led by the custodian of culture and tradition, the Emir of Arugungu, Samaila Mohammed Mira, said Kebbi State government and the Emirate Council are working to host a better festival in March 2020.
The whole idea is to celebrate peace, understanding and reconciliation between humanity from wherever they live. With the new status, the festival is open to the entire world community. And we are opening our hands to receive everyone and anyone who wishes to come.
Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Olusegun Ironshewe, said the festival has gone beyond Nigeria and as such should not be allowed to fade away.
Posterity will not forgive everyone in this country if we allow Argungu Fishing Festival to die. Prepared for Argungu Fishing Festival 2020, fully prepared.
In 2016, Arugungu Fishing Festival was registered by the United Nations as Intangible List of Cultural Heritage of Humanity. Inaya Kalu Oka, NTA News.
And now to sports news.